Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 23rd part of my Metroid Prime 1 Randomized Let's Play, where I'm tackling the reverse frigate continued. And this is a bit annoying because seeing the frigate in the darkness it's not easy. It needs the thermal visor for the most part. The logical action would have been to just go forward and simply keep walking and surface on the other side. I instead opt for a bit of a different strategy for a few good reasons. There is a pickup I wanted to get, and I could get that Talon Overworld missile expansion at a later date, which is better in my opinion because no use of stressing over it now, and it kinda is better that way. A big problem here is that I have to climb against it, and it's not fun climbing the frigate. It's part an exercise in frustration, part an exercise in memorization. Because as you can see, the platforms kinda don't stand out of the background even with the thermal visor on, and that absolutely ruins my day. So I gonna keep jumping and slowly making my way up. And once I'm at the top, I continue doing the reverse stuff. And there is a minor note I have to say. As I just mentioned, it's kinda difficult to keep doing this stuff. Because the frigate, while it's meant to be done this way, it presents you obstacles. You saw in my previous video how difficult it was to do it in reverse. Doing it normally it's much easier, but still you need to be careful. There are a couple of things here and there, those kinda jelly enemies, the cameras respawn, and I'm trying to find where the exit is, because it was behind my back and I didn't notice. Oops. Anyway, point is that the frigate is perhaps the least fun level of this game, closely followed by the impact crater, and I talk more about the impact crater on the last part of the Let's Play, that will be part 26. The entire goal of here is for you to climb up and get out, and for that your tools are adequate, not excellent, adequate. They provide you with some, well, management space, but it's not really all that helpful nor all that great, because you kinda need a bit more, and the thermovisor isn't really ideal to do this. Afterwards, this jump is a lot easier than the other one. I get out, do other world stuff, and I head back to the chamber. I had a bit of a moment of forgetfulness, and I decided to recheck the plasma marble slot slash chamber of the Hall of Elders, and it's kinda needed. But well, that happens to everybody from time to time. And I keep jumping, and more jumping. Metroid, a platformer at its core, and something that Retro managed to translate very well to the 3D realm. That mystical, magical realm where things that aren't easy happen. And even nowadays people have issues with the 3D part of platformers. There are some people out there, I'm not going to name names, obviously, I'm not stupid, but there are some people out there who haven't figured out how to make a good 3D platformer. And honestly, they kinda fail. Actually, I have a critique for a different game. I have a critique for the game 13. 13 is a first-person shooter that came out later than this game. And the GameCube port, which is the one I played, by the way, I haven't played any others, is absolutely horrible. Like, good God, why would you even do this? Why would you even make such a terrible port of a game? Are you secretly evil or something? Uh, I wrote a review for NewSecret.com on that game, and honestly, it's absolutely terrible. I hated that game. Um, when I say I hate it, I do mean I hate that game. Random objectives, super AI bosses with perfect aim, etc. etc. And a big complaint I have is that at the very least, the developers could have added something like, well, lock-on, something that Metroid had that was inspired by Zelda, and Zelda that had come in what, 1998, 1999, thereabouts. It's the C targeting of Zelda had absolutely made everything better for 3D games, and somehow 13 had this game pass it by. Like, I get it, they may have been under pressure. Ubisoft has a history of not being kind to its developers, etc., etc., etc. And alright, that's fair, no problem with that bit. My problem is that the game is awful. It's awful to play, it's awful in every sense. It doesn't know what to do with itself. Is it a cover shooter? Is it a stealth game? Is it a first-person shooter? Is it a first-person adventure? Is it something else? As I said, it has no idea what to do with itself because a number of its segments ask you different objectives, but different objectives how? Minor parenthesis, this is where I claim the sun chamber thing and this other thing. Okay. And it asks you about different objectives. But different objectives how? Well, don't let yourself get spotted. Don't, don't let you, which, alright, fair enough, that's reasonable. Don't kill anybody, fairly reasonable too. Except, here's the other shoe dropping, the way the game proposes its objectives is absolutely asinine, because it places guards in localizations where you can easily be spotted, which you don't want to be spotted, but let's not cut our players any sort of break. Let's go full turbo mode. And there are other things like the bullets my enemies have do more damage to me than to them, and they eat through my armor like holy, like, I don't know, like movie piranhas. Like movie piranhas. You have body armor. You're playing a video game. You're playing a first-person shooter. There is a point where realism versus well, no versus fantasy have to meet halfway, and they don't meet halfway. They hate meeting halfway. They don't want to meet halfway, and that ruins the whole experience of their team. So, what I will have done to make it a fun experience, in my opinion, maybe not have the armors be destroyed within just 2 or 3 shots, because while it's a bit of an hyperbole, they don't really last long enough, and you have to actually care more about your armor than actually having fun. Because that's the problem here. You have to be more careful, more skilled, and avoid taking enough damage. And the bosses are usually sort of worse things, because you actually need to resort to exploits to beat them. I'm not sure who sat one day and went and said, hey, you know what the world needs? A remake of an obscure FPS based on a comic that I'm not sure how many people know, but well, based on a comic, and the shooter is absolutely terrible. I'm told that the PC version is better, but I don't really buy it, honestly, because everything is just god awful, or it might be that Metroid has spoiled me for having such a wonderful control scheme. Samus always feels responsive to my commands. Samus always feels that I have control of where Samus goes. I always have this feeling that if I tell Samus jump, she's not going to spasm around and just awkwardly aim her guns. She's going to shoot until I release that button or something interferes with my signal. Like so. I release the A button, the charge shot fires. I don't get that feeling in 13. I get a feeling that, well, I'm not in control. I'm not doing anything I want. I'm having, no offense to schizophrenics, but I imagine that's what schizophrenia feels like. That you are not in complete control of your actions. And it's a terrible feeling. And the game does absolutely nothing to alleviate this feeling. And that's terrible because with a little more polish, with some extra care, 13 could have been a hell of a game. A hell of a shooter, actually. Because every element is there. You have a variety of stages, you have a number of things you want to do, and it's just not all that great. Like even 007 GoldenEye that I played before. I'm not really a fan of first-person shooters, but I played it. I used to own a cartridge of 007. Actually, I never knew what happened to it, but it's not important. And I played the game before, and honestly speaking, I've seen worse games. And comparing GoldenEye 007 that came for the 64, and even on its hardest difficulty, there are tricks, there are ways to do things. Here, I feel naked. I don't feel like this supposedly great super agent, because part of the game's idea is to make a fantasy a reality. I don't feel any of that with 13, and that's what I feel that Metroid Prime does absolutely better. And it came before 13. And in my opinion, it absolutely blasts 13 out of the water, along with many of its console generations first-person shooters. The closest FPS I have found palatable on the GameCube, and I have to stress the word on the GameCube. It's Second Sight I played. Ah, Time Splitters. And it was a good game, but it didn't really grab me. Second Sight grabbed me in different ways. The psychic powers aspect, and the, well, you don't know who you are really, and then the absolutely magnificent plot twist. It's a plot twist for the ages, I'm afraid. It's one that is such a grand plot twist that, well, people could take lessons from it even to this day. Alright, I'm heading back to Pedrana Drifts to clear it out of everything that can be cleared. That is 4 expansions, 1 missile, 1 energy tank or 2. And you will see what I mean. Because honestly, there isn't much left for me to grab here. I don't need to grab much of anything else. It might sound a bit obvious, but well, there isn't much. 4 expansions, 1 or 2 E-tanks, and all of that is in Pedrana. In different places, of course, but a lot of it is en route to the gravity chamber. I kind of forget about an expansion, or well, E-tank, kind of meet them into almost the very end of Pedrana Dreams. The journey to the gravity suit chamber is thankfully a lot less stressful. And unlike my previous scene, I can actually claim the hidden item that needs the plasma beam. On my last playthrough, well, there was a layer problem, and that triggered a thing that shouldn't have triggered, and well, a mess happened. But time is running out, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. See you next video for the cleanup of Pedrana Drifts, and then for the end game of this playthrough, the impact crater. See you!